All right, hello. Thank you all for coming out and welcome. I'm Brian McKinley. I'm going to be moderating this panel on the adult fiction. And so, first off, we'll go around. We'll give everybody a brief introduction. Mention your book title, your genre. Obviously keep it quick, just like the last panel. For fun, we'll start with Laura.
Oh, okay.
Go down.
It goes backwards.
I'll go backwards. I'll get to me next.
Okay.
We'll work around.
Well, again, my name is Laura Kaighn. I'm a professional storyteller, author, educator, and I run the New Jersey Writers Resource Group along with another little writers group out of the Book Asylum bookstore in Blackwood called the Asylumites, because we're crazy about books and writing books. My books in the adult area are a trilogy, 2B trilogy. I have two of the first two books out. Urban fantasy, which means that it's contemporary in that the setting is now, but the subject matter is a bit of the fantastical because we have shapeshifters. These are people who can become different animals. And the key figure in the series, the trilogy, Alora, actually learns to copy people's faces as well, which comes in handy when you've been kidnapped and held in a Proteus complex and you want to get away. So it has, again, nature and earth science and earth connections, earth energies. It's sort of a spiritual underpinning in that respect. So those are those books. Then I also have my science fiction series, which I originally began writing back in '91. And I'll go more into that later, but we have sci-fi. So it's a little bit of everything with me.
My name is Kristin Battestella. We're on the fiction panel. My fiction dark fantasy series is Fate and Fangs, Tales from the Vampire Family. That's an ebook right now. The one I have with me today is The Horror Addict's Guide to Life. I also write for a website called horroraddicts.net. This is a nonfiction anthology that they put out with different articles and recipes and lifestyle and culture kind of information. And Crescendo of Darkness is the fiction anthology that's out right now. And that's music and horror and dark fantasy mixed together.
I'm Laurel Jennings, Jen Jennings to my friends. This is my first book, Apart. It, I guess, classically would be considered mystery suspense thriller, although it could be considered women's fiction. It's, again, a kind of probably a cross-genre mashup of some sort. And in my day life, when I'm not a wildly unfamous author, I am a massage therapist and a hypnotherapist. So some of my professional life kind of did inspire me to get into the headspace of my characters in this book.
Hi, I'm Loretta Wish. My book is called Bumpy Night on the Walk of Fame, and it is a film fantasy. I have been writing all of my adult life and most of my childhood, actually. I spent some time in journalism and in PR, and I ghostwrote textbooks. And when you ghostwrite textbooks, you get to write for publishers like Macmillan and Random House and McGraw-Hill, and your name is in little tiny letters, and you're a writer for hire and you're under acknowledgement. So I'm thrilled to have gotten Unsial Press in Oregon to have published this book. It's the third one that I wrote, plus a children's book, but the first one to be published. And it's no money, it's a small publishing company, but my name is in big letters.
Yes.
My name is William Gold. I actually use my middle name as my pen name, William Howard. This is my first novel. What inspired this novel was actually watching the universe on the History Channel. I saw a special about an asteroid that was a Frankenstein asteroid that had been smushed together. And as I watched it, I thought to myself, wow, wouldn't that be an interesting alien prison? So I began writing a story about this alien asteroid that was the most impenetrable prison in the galaxy, that was populated by reptiles and that had insect guards who were at the top of the social chain in their specific universe. And as I wrote, I also introduced a human character, Cassie Faulkner, who lost her father at an early age and is actually the engineer aboard her starship. And they're transporting alien artifact that is strictly forbidden, but they need to use it at some point to save their ship. And once they do, they've unleashed a power that they can't control and might wind up destroying the universe. And
so what about you?
I
What do you do?
have I tell people I've had OCD in my career, that I am primarily an educator, but I've also worked as a paleontologist assistant. I've worked for a historical society. I went back to school for history for educators, and my wife was actually kind of disappointed, that when I came out of that degree that I didn't start writing history books, I started writing fiction books. So she was kind of wondering, why did I go back for history?
Okay. All right, I'm Brian McKinley. I write paranormal thrillers, primarily vampire novels. I have 3 of them. 2 are, this is the first one, Ancient Blood. The sequel is Ancient Enemies over there. And the spin-off novel is called Drawing Dead. And they're all sort of contemporary, well, Drawing Dead is historical. The other 2 are contemporary vampire thrillers. So,